Have you ever found yourself being exceedingly hard on yourself because you made a small mistake? But the reality is, you were raised in a way to believe that there should be no mistakes, that there should be no error. And essentially, with that, you've also simultaneously learned to walk on eggshells. And so you avoid even being or trying to be the very thing that you are because there's been this level of perfection, this expectation by other people to be perfect. And if you don't reach that, which is in and of itself unattainable, then you see yourself as like the absolute worst possible thing on the face of this planet. And then you spiral out into this really dark abyss of self loathing because you're either perfect or it's like you just can't exist. There is no in between. You've forgotten about your humanness because you've learned to believe that it's actually possible for you to be more than human. What a fascinating but all the same fucked up paradox. Fascinating but simultaneously fucked up. You can't be anything more than what you are, which is human. You really also can't be anything less than that. So, this fantastic canvas that presents itself before us of being human consists of all of these different dynamics of experiences. Your drive to be hard on yourself goes back to the learned dynamic of walking on eggshells, this perceived dynamic of actually being able to achieve anything that exceeds humanness. Everything that you are is human. Anything beyond that is unattainable by you until further notice, of course. But isn't it wild how we can spiral out into these episodes of dangerous self loathing, into darkness, these places that are not fun to be in, but we've learned to be in because we've learned that we should be shunned for this stupid thing that we've done, this mistake that we've done. Hey, listen, I could have even been born yesterday. Well, not entirely. I would know that I'm human because I'm still trying to fucking differentiate my fucking hand from my butthole. But I mean, like, shit. It's not that hard to understand that you're human. And it's also not that hard to understand. It's funny, as I say, it's not that hard to understand. That in and of itself is also somewhat me projecting this frustration of a person being hard on themselves. It's not that hard to get it. It's funny, it kind of like goes like full circle. I catch myself when I am disrupting the flow of what I'm trying to get at by putting the very thing that frustrates me out there. People learn to be hard on themselves because they're raised by people that are hard on them, that were hard on themselves as well. You're not more than human. You're not less than human. You are human. If you have any expectation of yourself to be more than human, it's because you were raised by people that may have been somewhat psychotic and neurotic, and they learned that there is somehow this achievable state of being more than human. Newsflash, there's not, as far as I'm aware. I don't know what else is out there. I mean, we're kind of crossbreeding with AI at this point. If you want to become part robot, be my guest. But if you think that you need to spend the entire rest of your life walking on eggshells and trying to achieve something that is not achievable, you can. I don't know why you would. The main theme of this is why choose self loathing? Because you've learned to walk on eggshells your entire life and you're trying to avoid all the fucking landmines that these assholes have set up for you and taught you that that's a normal functional, non-toxic, and even somewhat healthy way of living? Hell no. You're human. Oh, but you should know this by now. Right. You don't have to walk on eggshells, even if you think that you need to carry them along with you and throw them down wherever you think that they should be. You don't have to. And anybody that does make you walk on eggshells, either just get them the fuck out of the picture or get them out of the picture. I mean, you can spend your life with them. I don't know why you would. Maybe walking on eggshells is something that you think you're supposed to do in your life. You can. I don't know why you would want to. It might be a very familiarized and comfortable dynamic for you, but you don't have to. Anybody that sets up expectations for you where you all of a sudden have to step into this dynamic of either sub or meta, you're either below human. Oh, all of a sudden you're not human. I mean, either way, like if you're above human, then you're all of a sudden not human again. But where is the workbook for that? Where's the rule book? Who the fuck designed that? It's bullshit for anybody that didn't know. So anyone that has you set up with these expectations that you've all of a sudden got to operate meta or your sub, hopefully that's understood. Meta, you're somehow beyond human. You're more than human. Sub, you're below human. You are less than human. You have been so fucking degraded that now you're all of a sudden less than human. You're not human, but in a way that would be perceived as negative. It's bullshit. We are human. Nothing more and nothing less. Anything that is experienced within this dynamic spectrum of a structure is still in and of itself human. It doesn't matter how fucking terrible you feel based on what it is that you're doing, based on what it is that you've done. You're still human. It doesn't matter how much the people that do good or perceived phenomenally at like meta levels, it doesn't matter how much they shame the people below them. It doesn't, or perceived below. You're still a human. Nobody out there, no matter how much they've shined themselves up in the spotlight, nobody else out there is exempt from being a fucking human. Nobody else out there can be more than human. Nobody else out there can be less than human. You are fucking human. Based on the decisions that you make, based on the things that you say, you might feel better about yourself than other people. Don't get me wrong, there is such thing as mental and emotional health, and depending on where you lie on the spectrum of both of those, emotional health being one of the most fascinating things to look at, because that in and of itself can really determine your quality of life. I'm pretty sure I've made a video on the subject of how, yeah, I did. I think this was like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that. I made a video on the subject of how emotional health contributes to just the quality of your life. If you have less emotional health, and when I say that, I don't mean like, I'll say what I mean instead. If you are emotionally underdeveloped, you're going to have a very hard time with life. And the reason being is because you're probably going to be enmeshed with other people. You're going to be taking on other people's shit. Other people are going to be taking on your shit. There's going to be a fuck ton of boundary violations back and forth in multiple areas, and it's just not going to be a good time. It's not going to be a fun time. That's the reality of it. But if you have learned to expect meta human from yourself when all that you are is human, that's not to say that you cannot wake up on a daily basis and choose better for yourself. There's a difference between healthy decisions and unhealthy decisions. You can absolutely wake up on a daily basis and choose better for yourself, but while you do that, simultaneously consider setting boundaries with people so that people understand that they can't just set expectations for you, especially expectations that would involve you becoming more than you are, which is more than human. And a lot of people believe that they get to set these expectations for you. No, those are most definitely boundary violations. Yeah, you don't owe anybody anything. I mean, be careful with the tax people out there. But other than that, you don't owe people shit. And simultaneously, you are 100% allowed to change your mind. So if you've agreed to something, like if somebody set expectations with you and you agreed to them, but then all of a sudden you woke up one day and you were like, why the fuck am I agreeing to somebody else's expectations? I don't want to do that. I have this life of my own. I can be autonomous. I can choose things that are authentic for me, but that choice that I was making was actually not even congruent with what it is that I desire for myself. I was just doing it because I was afraid that I would lose something if I didn't do it, but I didn't even take the time to consider what it is that I actually want. So, yeah, I changed my fucking mind. You might have one of those experiences where you just wake up one day and you're like, all of these standards and expectations that other people have set for me, yeah, no, I'll pass. I was less aware back then than I am now. I'm realizing that I am becoming this autonomous individual that is not interested in unhealthy collaborations with other people. I'll pass on that. And then they might try to shame you for like changing your fucking mind. They might say something like, that's fucking obnoxious. Cool. Nice story, bro. I'll still pass. You don't owe anybody anything. And you definitely don't owe anybody a version of yourself that doesn't exist. You can't be more than human. You also can't be less than human. You're just human. So, whatever manipulative tactics people utilize to try to buy you in to whatever fucked up standards, systems, and dynamics that they have, see it for what it is. And if need be, just bow out peacefully. Sayonara. Because if there's anything that I've learned about individualism, about being, my own unit, autonomy, it's fucking awesome when you set boundaries, when you're individuated, when you're differentiated. From everything that I've learned, it's fucking awesome to see everything for what it is, to become as consciously aware of yourself as possible, and to operate from a place of self, of choosing the self, of understanding what it is that the self actually needs, and consistently, with zero anxiety, choosing that. I would argue that there might not be anything more fulfilling, because anything else outside of that is outside of the boundaries that you have discovered and created for yourself. And if you have empathy and you can operate from a place of understanding the difference between self and other, and you're choosing self for the benefit of other, shit, that's like incredible. That's absolutely marvelous. So, letting go of all of these fucked up ideas that other people have, expectations for you that they have, yeah, no, fuck all of that. That's not necessary. It's not. You're allowed to change your mind whenever the fuck you want to, and as many fucking times as you want to. Oh yeah, I checked the fucking detail of the weather and I realized that this part right here I don't fucking like. So I changed my mind. I'm not interested anymore. Oh, you're fucking obnoxious for changing. No, I'm fucking not. Nancy, I'm not. I'm not. You're just telling me how you feel about yourself because you've probably been neurotically shamed by the people that raised you and taught you that you're somehow more than human. Uh, Psychosis, at some degree, at least. Some people are very out of touch with reality, and that can be terrifying. It's best not to be there.